No, I'm excited. It's, the first time we're doing it online. I mean, not first time in the history of Tribe, but in the history of Tribe and Sublime, that's the first time we're doing it online. So we'll see.
For Sublime, it's also like it's the first time online. So yeah, I'm a bit nervous, but I think it will be even like better than doing it offline. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Actually, we were doing it before. Like we had, I think right now, 5 different events that we organized, Arek in Warsaw, for the e-commerce professionals, let's call it, for the e-commerce community. And they were, I think, very good. I mean, you got some good comments about them, right?
Yeah. I heard really like good things. We are like also like trying to improve it. So yeah, we will be like we are very open to your feedback. So and we will be like sending a survey at the end of the event to hear what other topics are interesting for you guys and what we should like talk about, because we don't want this event to be like only like sales. We want to like bring the knowledge and show that what our clients are doing, or our like e-commerce friends, what are they up to.
Yeah, like the idea came to life from, for me at least, from the fact that when I was starting my digital agency, I was actually doing lots of teachings at the newly opened Google Campus Warsaw, and it was great. Like I don't know exactly why I was doing it, just because I really wanted to share some of the know-how and to just meet with people who have similar interests and are doing similar stuff. And now it's like 6 years after that. And I feel again that, I mean, the knowledge of people around my agency evolved a lot. We got into partnerships, for example, with you. So we right now have really, really good analytics partners. So I feel like there's so many new things to say and so much of this practical knowledge that is actually missing in the market. So this is our effort to kind of deliver it. So it's like we don't really have speakers, right, who are speaking. We just have people from the companies who are doing work on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think also like running like Tribe 47 Academy, right? To share the knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing a course, but the problem with the course in our industry is that it devaluates very quickly. And that's where we record a course. We actually have a course that goes through the entire performance marketing, but it's missing this like up-to-date stuff and just the knowledge from last minute, because things are really changing in our industry very fast. Like I can just give one example from the topic that we're going to be briefly touching, because we're going to be talking today about client retention. And to do client retention, obviously you have to collect some leads. Without emails, it's very difficult to retain the clients because you can't communicate. So for me, for example, recently I just was noticing that some old-fashioned ways of collecting leads started working, like these ebook lead magnets that I would say like just 2 years ago I felt were not very effective, for example, in terms of e-commerce brands, because the funnels got very short. Now the funnels are again getting a bit longer. People are more picky when they're purchasing e-commerce products online. So there's so many shifts all the time. So that's why I think sharing it like real time, this is important. This is where
Because
it comes from.
it's outdated right pretty quickly. Yeah.
Especially the trends.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So because I'm looking at the time, we've got 11:04. Maybe we should get going. We've got our consultant, Katia from Tribe 47, who gonna tell us if this is the right moment to start.
Yes, please, we can start, Eva.
Okay, how many people we have? Because I've got my deck on. So how many people are watching us right now?
We have 44 people.
Wow, 44 people. That's quite a group. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the e-commerce growth meetup. And when some of you guys were there, maybe not there, I don't know what time everyone joined. We were just chit-chatting with Arek here that this is not the first event. It's the next event. We have been doing this already for almost a year, sharing different pieces of e-commerce know-how from practitioners, from companies that we work with, from our companies as well, from what we see. We're doing it to really deliver real-time know-how, because we feel this is really fast-paced industry. And whatever you recorded last year might not be valid now. So we want to have this conversation ongoingly. And we want to build a community of people who are sharing. Like we really think, you cannot harm your business by sharing good stuff that you do. You can, there's enough, for everyone from the spiritual perspective, right? Abundance.
So it's like karma a little bit, yeah.
And the karma comes back, obviously.
Obviously.
So welcome, guys. Let's go in. Let's give you a little overview of what we're gonna do today. And first, we wanted to introduce ourselves officially. So, okay. So I'm Eva Wysocka, and I'm CEO of Try47. I also have another business, which is online yogi subscription called Portal Yogi. And this is...
And I'm Arek Dziekoński. I am the co-founder and CEO of Sublime. Sublime is an analytics platform, and we'll talk about it in a minute.
Yeah, so, it's really not about selling us, but we want to give you a background. Why are we doing this and where are we coming from? So Tribe is the agency for e-commerce businesses that executes growth.
Yeah, and the Sublime is an analytical tool that measures growth and identifies growth opportunities.
Yeah, sorry. That's my... Yeah, so that's really enough about us. If you guys will want to get to know us better, some of you online are our clients, friends, people from our network anyways, and welcome. And we're happy you're here because a lot of you guys were joining our previous events that were live in Warsaw. This is an experiment to do it online because we wanted to make it more open. We're also looking, and the weather is really nasty. So we know it's sometimes difficult to get even to the other side of the city. So we're thinking, okay, let's do it online. Let's see how it works. But we want to get your feedback because sometimes live events are better because we can just, exchange some energy and it's time to, it's easier to be open with questions and stuff. So maybe we do it once like this, once like that. So let's see. But we really need your feedback also about the quality of the content that we're going to share, speakers, and so on. So today, we're going to have a couple of sessions. So this event online going to last until 2:30. But you guys are welcome to stay for the whole thing. Like if you're, in your home or at the office, maybe you can just listen in. If something interests you, you're more focused, something doesn't, like you plug out, but maybe you will hear something that you actually want to explore. And I tell you one thing, maybe they're going to be a recording of it, but trust me, you will not watch it from the recording. It's much higher chance that you're going to watch it and absorb it if you stay live here. Like, that's my experience, and I think experience of many people. Time is now. Watch it. Use it to plan your 2024. Use it to really, really dig into customer retention, because I have just now exited another event of different agency owners from the whole Europe, sharing that actually the last year wasn't easy for e-commerce businesses, for many businesses that are advertising online. And the predictions are that the next year, and probably 2025 as well, will not be much easier because there's tons of unpredictability out there. It's always a retention of the clients you have that can keep your business safe. So this session is going to give you some fundamentals to do it better, some fundamentals, but also some really cool insights from companies that are doing it very well. and also in the difficult e-commerce segments like supplements or what else we have today, like supplements, some cosmetics and hygienic products, and also e-grocery. We're going to have people from different, not easy industries where the innovation is, everyday thing. So let's dig in. So the first session that you guys will be able to hear, Arek, maybe you can share a little bit because you were organizing this one.
Yeah, so Mateusz Dziekoński from Health Lab Care will be presenting his macro segmentation approach to using first party data and maximizing customer lifetime value. And Mateusz was to perform live, but a couple of days ago he got some really important meetings to attend to, and he agreed to record his presentation 2 days ago. So he won't be live, but he asked us to collect all the questions that you guys have, and he will be responding to them and replying, because he was very keen to share, as Eva said, to share what they're doing in House Lab.
Yeah, and it's stuff that they are doing very recently, and it's actually advanced stuff. So you guys should pay attention to this one.
Yeah, it will be quite technical, let's say, but quite impressive, I'll admit.
So we're gonna play it live right now, and you guys can still post the questions on the channel. And if we can answer something, me and Arek, we will, but maybe we can't because Mateusz is smarter. So then we're gonna make sure that the answers will actually get to you via email. After that, we're gonna have a retention through automation session. So really just the most powerful email sequences that going to be presented by Paulina from Tribe 47. Then we're going to have another session by Arek and Paulina from the company called Yorkaya that sells hygienic product via one-offs and subscriptions. And it's going to be about RFM, which is something I always want to implement for clients, but it's very difficult. So I hope, Arek, you guys will share more about it.
Yeah, we will present a case study, an experiment that we did with Yorkaya and the effects of the experiments.
And finally, we're going to have a panel discussion that I'm going to lead, as always. And panels are always the most fun, and I'm trying to dig deep into the minds of the speakers. There are going to be 3 practitioners that are going to sit with us, and we're going to have a conversation about leads. Interesting, because we're also going to cover some lead acquisition strategies in that particular session. So enough from us. Now let's sit back, let's take a coffee, and let's watch Mateusz, who recorded for us just 2 days ago a very fresh piece of advice. So see you after the session for a quick chat, and we're going to go into the next one.
Hi everybody, my name is Mateusz, and today I have a pleasure to talk about maximizing customer lifetime value using data analysis and micro-segmentation. I'm going to share with you some insights from Health Labs Care, so stay focused and let's go. Probably most of you know Health Labs Care, but for those who aren't familiar with us, we are selling supplements and cosmetics. Right now, we have more than 100 own products in our portfolio. We started 4 years ago, and during that time, we have achieved thousands of hundreds of customers who return pretty often to our shop. I'm working at Health Labs Care as a head of revenue operations, which translates in my case to managing analytics and CRM teams, and to advisory in the area of marketing channels, campaigns, and promotions. I'm also estimating demand for our products. So yeah, today I will share with you Our general approach towards customer retention, what is important for us and what is not, how do we look at KPIs and which biases we are avoiding. Secondly, I will share our experience of managing CRM using data to be like real data driven, not only as a buzzword. The third point I'm going to share today is that what actually microsegmentation means to us. How do I understand that? Why you should also think about microsegmentation, and how can we use it to grow in the area of retention incrementally? And this is a very important word. And finally, I will show you some practical working examples of our recent wins in the area of increasing retention rates. Some of those ideas will be pretty obvious, but I will share with you also some out of the box ideas that you could repeat in your business. So let's move forward. Let's start from helicopter view. Improving retention is challenging because you have to think about many areas that may impact your final result of working on your retention rates. When it comes to channels, it is not only important to pick specific channels that will build communication with your customers, but also it's important to adjust what are we trying to say via those channels to our customers. You can educate, you can urge to buy, you can send just a simple content to make them feel interested, you can support them. You should not only urge customers to buy, but also educate, probably in your case. But how often and what should be the proportion between those reasons to use our channels? Uh, that is a question you have to answer based on your environment and business case. Next, how often and in which moment we should use those channels? Do we want to educate a customer during his or her 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 2 weeks after making a new purchase? How many emails do we want to send, or how to use call center if we have one? Is one phone call per 3 months sufficient, or is that too much or too little? So you have to find those answers to that questions. Also, customers, very important. Who are actually our customers? Do you have just like one group of pretty similar customers, or you have like 10 or 20 or maybe 100 of specific groups? Without perfectly knowing who your customers are, you will not be able to adjust communication between those groups. For example, at Health Labs Care, we may have some users that want to lose weight, some that have skin's problem, some that want to sleep better. So those are completely different reasons to buy, and sending the same email with the same topic to all of them is certainly not an optimal way of communication. I will say about certainty next slide, so I'll skip that. And also, I'm recommending to you to think about what part of marketing budget you are ready to spend on recurring transactions. Probably most of you know how much you are able to pay for a new customer, but how much can you pay for acquiring a returning transaction? I have decided that you can calculate that, knowing perfectly what are the increments of your actions in this area. Let's move forward. Okay, now let's dive into certainty for a while. Attribution doesn't mean causation. And if your analytics tool shows that you have, for example, 100 transactions from email, that doesn't mean that you have 100 transactions that would not have happened if those customers had not gotten email. Probably this is one of the most common biases in the area of causations. Remember that any attribution method doesn't show incremental values, no matter you use first touch, last touch, or multi-touch attribution. If you have 95% of traffic coming from a single channel, that approach might be closer to truth. But if you have more than one important channel, it gets trickier. For example, if you have like 5 channels with more than 10% of total traffic or transactions, it will be super hard to define how many of those transactions were gained incrementally from each channel. Also, the more direct entrances and transactions, the harder to define that, as your brand gets more and more recognition and awareness, and some of those customers will buy no matter they get an email or see an ad. Summarized KPIs also can be tricky to understand. For example, customer lifetime value can be changing not because of your actions, but because of different users' distribution. And it is happening all the time. That is why it is super important to analyze your KPIs in a more detailed way, per customer segment, per customer channel. It is also easy to pick some selected KPIs to claim that your actions had good results. We should not be too optimistic about results, to not cheat ourselves. And typically we have a tendency to react on the positive signals much better than to negative ones. So note here, learn about bias avoidance and popularize that approach. Okay, and that's it when it comes to theory. Now I will share with you some insights when it comes to practice. At Health Labs Care, we had all of those challenges that I've already mentioned, and this is how we approach that. First of all, we created a framework of understanding our retention as a whole and picked some KPIs adjusted to our business case. Secondly, we mixed two teams, analytics and CRM, to create a synergy between actions and analysis and to better understand what are the actual results of our efforts. Thirdly, we have implemented a process of defining and implementing improvements, documenting them, and using them on a daily basis. Finally, we've built a data warehouse that collects all data we have at Health Labs Care, and with many additional segmentations that are an engine of our work on retention and communication. Having all of that, we integrated that data warehouse with CRM, call center, text messages, and other channels to combine our approach for all of those channels and to be able to conduct multi-channel tests. Note here, I recommend hiring good and proactive and pragmatic analysts to jump on a higher level with improving retention, and you should think about engaging them in CRM and retention activities. Now I want to show you our framework of working on customer phases. We can name it a supplementation life cycle. We have created 6 categories that are a fundament for our work on retention rates. It helps us to adjust a specific tone and communicate to our customers, bearing in mind what is their actual stage. The first one is new supplementation, and this is the stage in which we are making sure customer has all the relevant information and knows how to use our product. The next phase is when a customer is consuming our products, and this is a perfect moment to educate them about value they can get from being consistent. And here we're making sure we do all we can to build a habit of consuming our goods. We calculate that period separately for each customer as they order different products in different quantities, maybe during the promotion or not. So there are huge differences. The third stage is when a customer should finish a supplementation, and this is a moment in which we are starting to urge a customer to continue good habits and therefore to buy again. The last three stages is where we are focused pretty much, as those mean that a customer has not continued supplementation, and we put much effort to adjust frequency, timing, channels, personalization, and our offer to them to make them buy again. The stage, the latter the stage, the more creative and aggressive we can be. So we measure retention via calculating how many customers we were able to bring back to the first stage. And this is how we work on retention. Okay, so when it comes to micro-segmentation, at Health Labs, we have created more than 50 customer traits that we analyze and constantly monitor, not only using dashboards or reports, but we use that to define who specifically reacted on our communication via different channels and who did not. I want to mention here some crucial segments, non-obvious segments that we use that are useful for us on a daily basis. So the first and the most important one is a key reason to buy. This is a value that we have attributed to all of our customers, of course, in some categorical way, but I believe that's a nice approximation of their reason to buy, and it is based on the products they bought, the products they viewed, the emails and content they reacted on. So our customers, for example, may have skin problems. They might want to lose weight or to improve their mood and restore healthy sleep. So this is pretty important to differentiate the initial key reason to buy and the current one, because that of course can change if you will solve the initial problem. Another one is wealth. You can just simply mix postal codes from shipping address and your customer phone model, and that combination will give you a pretty nice approximation of what is wealth of your customer. So you can use that information to adjust your offer to a specific customer, because some customers might be able just to buy more. Regularity, of course, we'll calculate that based on historical orders, discount response. So how likely is a customer to react on a specific discount value? And it is pretty important to know that because this is a pretty easy way to optimize your margin, just to not send to high discounts to specific clients that don't need them to buy. The almost last one is expected time of reactions of customers. So mainly I'm saying about making a purchase. So some customers react better during evenings, some prefer to buy product in the morning, some are doing it only in the weekends. So I recommend differentiating that and adjust your communication to that specific windows. And the last one that we use, maybe not the last one, but the last one that I'm mentioning here is how likely is a customer right now to make a purchase again. This is useful because we simply don't want to urge customers with relatively low purchase consideration score to not waste their energy and our energy. A word about the process. We simply test everything. So I highly recommend doing that. So let's start from hypothesis. How many customers do you think will react after a specific action you will undertake? What should be the sample size and the characteristics of the sample size? After the action, you have to check which customers reacted on a trigger. So that is the definition of micro-segmentation. So which specifically customers reacted on a trigger. After that, document all of the insights in a knowledge database, attribute those insights to specific segments, repeat, iterate, repeat, iterate. Okay, moving forward, a word about our tech stack. In the middle of everything, the engine is data warehouse, and it is integrated in both ways with CRM and call center. We are also integrated with our shop, with front end and back end. So we have all the necessary data that we need, and analyst is a super important part in here because analyst can analyze results of our current actions, but also can use insights and tests and documented wins and fails from previous weeks, months, or years to perfectly brief our CRM team and call center team how to optimize their actions, and also to help us understand what are the actual results of our actions and how they impacted specific segments of our customers. Okay, now it is time for cases. The first thing I want to talk about is when we wanted to optimize a specific moment in which we are trying to urge new customers to come back. So we can name it an onboarding, and the first urging messages. So we also know pretty well that customers can get annoyed if they get too many communicates about buying again, or if they get those messages too fast. So we have calculated for each user what is expected time of return consideration to not jump a gun, and adjusted all channels to that strategy. So marketing automation and call center and text messages to that approach. And finally, it resulted in 11% of increase of long-term customer lifetime value. And we checked that using A/B test of a new approach and the previous one. So that is our first win. Now the second case, call center campaigns. We decided to check what will happen if we make a phone call without trying to sell anything, but to check how is our customer smooth, if her or he has all needed information, and to show that we just simply care about them. We really wanted just to show that care, but of course, we were also curious if that kind of campaign will have any impact on our retention rates and other KPIs. Surprisingly, we saw about 5% higher retention rates for customers that were included in test campaigns. So probably those phone calls made customers more likely to come back to us because we reminded them that we exist and that we are a cool company that cares about them. So they just came back on their own. We have also conducted that test using A/B tests and checked a couple of times after finishing the test whether the difference between those groups is still noticeable in time. It changed a little, but was still enough to claim that the test group performed better in the terms of retention rates even after 6 months from the test. Let's move forward to the third and the last case. Probably many of you have conducted a promotion at least once, and probably many of you conduct a promotion from time to time. Someday at Health Labs, we were discussing what type of promotion should we conduct in a near future. And we saw 4 different variants of promotion that we were considering that were actually pretty similar to each other when it comes to average expected discount. But we wasn't sure how customers will react on those variants and which one will be the best for us. So which one will let us to achieve the highest revenue and the highest margin. So this is how we did that. We selected randomly a tiny part of our customer base and divided that into 4 equal parts. Next, we sent to all of those groups different communicates and different promotion conditions to check how will they react on them. We had to pick just one type of promotion as we were going to launch ads, change our homepage, and so on. So despite that some segments reacted better on different types of promotion, we choose the one that was the best comparing to other promotion variants. So the final difference between the best and the worst tested variant was 23% higher margin. So after a week from our tests, we have conducted that winning type of promo and celebrated super nice results. So to sum up my presentation, I pointed out a couple of key takeaways that I would love to be remembered by all of you. So the first one is understand your customers and their traits. I recommend engaging analysts to do that. Build your own segmentation adjusted to your business and to your customers. Implement micro-segmentation analysis by implementing many different segments. Use those differences and those segments to adjust communication. Test all the time. Document your insights. Conduct A/B tests and make holdout groups. Create the process of improving retention rates and iterate on and on. Remember about incremental value and biases that you should avoid on a daily basis and popularize that approach. And finally, and optionally, mix CRM and analytics to achieve better synergy between those channels. So that concludes my presentation. Please feel free to ping me on LinkedIn or to write a message via email. I will be happy to answer any questions or to discuss any area mentioned today. So thank you for your attention and goodbye.
Okay, so that was cool, Arek.
Yeah, that was nice. I thought that was one question to Mateusz. I think I tried to answer that, but you can also like send questions to Mateusz directly if you have any.
Okay, what was the question?
The question was the question was about the analytics they use and the CRM. So I think like one of the slides, like one of the later slides, like addressed that, but I also like answered that. So they are using like internal analytics, and in terms of CRM, I have no idea what they have right now.
Yeah, but that's a good question, and I think it's a good intro to something that we're gonna talk in a second. This was, to me, quite advanced presentation because these guys are doing more advanced segmentation than majority of the clients that, for example, we work with, and I'm very impressed with the fact that they actually do the test, for example, on the promotions, and they send different types of promotions to different segments of the customer base. And that's something that is quite rare. I would say that's the next level. If you guys have everything set up, good to do it. And blending analytics with CRM, super important, because that's probably the only way you can actually understand if this works or it's just some other type of channel that adds up to your stack. So that was important. And I will not bring back the slide deck, but maybe you can just quickly say, Arek, for those of you guys who are just joining right now, that this is the event about client retention in e-commerce, and it's led by Ewa Wysocka from Tribe 47, the agency that helps e-commerce businesses to launch and grow, and
by Arek Wiśniewski from Sublime Analytics platform, the platform that helps to identify growth opportunities that then Tribe can execute upon. So,
and usually our clients actually use us as an agency and Sublime as an analytics tool.
Yeah.
So we're a good match. Okay, so now we're gonna have a session by Paulina Wardak, who's project owner from Tribe 47. She's an amazing woman that joined our agency not very long time ago, but she's already very successful. She's leading right now 2 projects. Well, she has some feeling of the supplement industry. So somehow we've got a lot of supplements today because some of her freshest cases are also related to supplements, but she also been an e-commerce business owner herself, and she worked within the e-grocery business. So she has really a lot of years of very good experience. And today she's gonna tell you guys about really the most important email sequences that you can set up to boost customer retention. So pay attention, and I'm giving the voice to Paulina. I'm very happy that she's presenting.
Thank you, Eva, for the introduction. So I'm gonna share my screen and let's start the presentation. Okay, so actually Eva introduced me already, so I'll just say hello everyone. My name is Paulina, and today I will talk with you about the retention and how to master it with the automation strategies. So let's start from the beginning. Are you aware that 80% of your first-time customers will never return for the second purchase? This statistic is more than just a number, I would say. It's a wake-up call. It's highlighting the challenge business face in turning new customers into repeat buyers. So there's a few reasons why many of these customers don't return. And sometimes it's just one-time need. So customer come for just one thing they need, and once they got it, they're good to go. So it's not about dissatisfaction, just fulfillment of the specific need. But mostly, there are different reasons. So it's negative pricing, value perception, low customer satisfaction, and lack of engagement. So if customers don't see that they're getting their money worth, they might not return. So the key question here that we need to address is how can we effectively reduce the high one-time buyer percentage? So in today's competitive market, retention is the key to sustainable growth and profitability. It's about more than just making a sale. It's about creating lasting relationship with your customers. So why is it so important? Here's the thing. Keeping our current customers is way cheaper than finding the new ones. Plus, loyal customers, they're like gold. So they stick around and keep spending. To know if your business is doing well, look at your customer lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio. And it's like a health check. So this ratio is super important because it shows that if we're getting back from our customers enough compared to what we're spending to get them in the door. So it's all about balancing what we earn and what we spend. And important thing, the ratio above 1 indicates that you're on a good way. to sustainable and profitable business. So it's showing that you have effective retention and acquisition strategies, because both are really important. On the other hand, a low ratio may signal the need for strategic adjustments, possibly in improving retention or in reducing acquisition costs. And what is the role of the automation here? Like, what role does automation play in retention? So your marketing automation strategy should be designed to support a smooth and effective transition down the sales funnel. From the initial customer engagement means becoming a lead and leaving us tons of data, including email address, through making the first purchase, becoming officially a customer and leaving even more data, to become highly engaged and loyal customer, maybe a whale, maybe a VIP. So automation is about building reputable and measurable processes around customer to drive desired and desired by you behaviors. So every step of the way, automation should make things smooth and easy. So it's all about being smart here and to take care of the customer journey. Here on the slide, you can see different automation strategies applicable at each stage of their life cycle. So you can use many tools here, such as emails, SMS, landing pages, paid ads, and you can mix them all together and test different setups. And the important thing is to design the flow so it will be effective and it will generate revenue. So let's start with the step 1. How to use personalization at scale that everyone is talking about recently so much, and how to boost ROI with it. And you have to create smart segmentation, and we already heard about it a lot on the previous presentation. So in simple words, don't invite a friend who is a heavy metal fan to a Taylor Swift concert. Like, you have to know your friends and you have to know your audience. So treat customers like your friends and design flows appropriately to the data that you have about them. So in detail, you have to sort out customers into different groups. Think about what they bought before, how often they buy, how much they spend. Yep, that's the RFM segmentation. We will dive into deeper in the next presentation with your Kaya. So you will see the real use case about it. And in this way, we can really personalize in scale our communication with customers. So even you will have a database of 100,000 emails. When you segment them, you can send them personalized messages. And the next step in crafting and effecting retention strategy is to dive deep with a lot of insightful questions. And here will be just few examples, not all of them, but just few. So ask yourself, which metrics distinguish a high-value customer from a lower-value one? So consider how frequently a customer should purchase from you before being classified as loyal. And determine the indicators that signify a customer lack of engagement. So when do we say they are not engaged anymore? So getting these answers will help you set up some smart automation. And trust me, you will know that you're doing it right, because you will see the metrics improve. So your deliverability will increase, your unsubscribe rate decrease, and in general, you will see better results. Not all at the same time, so be patient and do a lot of A/B tests, and and maybe with some time adjust also the metrics and the goals that you want to achieve, because this one is a tricky part. So let's move to step 2. We already have the segmentation, and I know that it costs you a lot of money and energy to get customers. I had my own e-commerce store, and I know that it's a headache. So, but please don't forget about them the moment they place an order. Don't just let them be on their own. Now it's the time to make their experience really rock. So make your post-purchase communication meaningful. Keep it fun, engaging, make them feel good about their choice. So if there's one question I hear more than any other question from customers is definitely, where is my order? It's like a daily thing in the world of e-commerce. So picture this. An excited customer clicks buy and almost immediately the anticipation kicks in. They're checking their inbox, they become impatient, they want updates. So before you know it, they're on the phone and sending you messages asking, where's my order? On Instagram, on Facebook, by mail, calling the customer service. You know, we all have been there on the both sides, actually, as a customers too. So that's why post-purchase emails, including transactional emails, have the highest open rate of all automation. And you should use it. You should think carefully about what and how you want to communicate in this flow, because a well-designed and engaging post-purchase flow can be one of your best high revenue generating flows. So what makes post-purchase emails worth their resource? Well, it's simple. Customers want this communication, so it's a crucial part of the overall customer experience. And this email actually built trust. And well-crafted post-purchase emails and SMS tempt customers to revisit your site, potentially leading to more purchases. And what's very important in this and every next step of creating retention strategy, segmentation will play a key role all the time. Messages in post-purchase flow should be tailor-made based on segmentation that you prepared. How? Well, for example, you should distinguish first-time buyers from repeat buyers. To a first-time buyer, tell an engaging story about the brand because they don't know your story yet. Let them know you have a program where they can earn points. And to a second and more time buyers, be sure to notice that they're back and let them know about it. So show that you're glad that they trusted you again, that they left money again, and maybe get them refer you to their friends. So another example, if someone is buying again, you can tempt them with a VIP program and special offers. This is the great time for upsell. If it's the first time someone has bought something from you, let them know you have a loyalty program, show them how many points they're gonna earn for that order, that if they sign up for the program. And you know, when you have this segmentation idea about the segmentation setup, now you have to really understand that the most important role of post-purchase flow is to maintain excitement and enthusiasm of your customers. Because as a psychological research shows, the moment we make purchase, our dopamine shoots up. So while afterwards there will be doubts, remorse, questions. Do I seriously need this? Why did I buy this dress? You know, I have so many dresses at home, and why did I got another one? So here on the slide, you have a great example of how brand invites the customers into the brand's world in a really engaging way. So they're naming him Grazoid while he's waiting for the order. And I don't know how about you, but I would love to become part of this community of Grazoids while waiting for my delicious, always fresh, never blended olive oil, you know? So this is example how you can make it fun and how you can engage customers. So what else you can do in post-purchase flow? You can educate. By doing so, you're preparing the ground for future purchases and possible feedback about product they just bought. So, for example, if you sell supplements, tell them how to take them. Before breakfast, after, I don't know, like how much water should I drink with the supplements, which doses should I take? If you sell clothes, and I don't know, but they bought, for example, a scarf, show them 10 creative ways how to style it, you know, how to wear it. So, and here's a pro tip for you, emails with education about the purchased product, so the product they just bought, can be treated as transactional emails. So you can send them to everyone, not just the people that said yes to your marketing. And just one rule here, you cannot do the upsell here. So you can direct them back to your website. You can educate them about the product they bought, but you cannot do the like sell and marketing here. So Most importantly, actually, and maybe it should be before, but yeah, in post-purchase flow, you should give the customer all the most important information about the order and shipping. So ensure that your transactional emails are really real. They have all tracking info and time when the package arrives, and put their most common questions that customer can ask, for example, like what about returns, how I would proceed, and so on. And of course, visible contact for customer service. And you know what? Here's the great advice I will give you. And maybe it's not easy to implement. You will see for yourself, but please don't spend any time or money sending customers somewhere else than your website. What does it mean? If possible, create an order tracking on your site and drive traffic to your site instead of sending the customer to site of the courier, so of the DPD, DHL, or another courier company. So this way, the customers lands back on your site and you can encourage them to make another purchase by cross-selling, for example. So you can see the great example of Glossier here, that on the website, they show you all the tracking, all the information. Here is the package delivered already, but before there were other steps about the package, and next to it, they're doing the upsell. So they're not directing the customer outside of the website. They're actually bringing them back here to upsell. And that's a really important thing about the flow. And actually, it should be part of your strategy. Remember, the unboxing experience is the only post-purchase interaction that has 100% guaranteed open rate. So make sure it is included if you're in your strategy, and make sure it's exceptional. And okay, the customer got the package. So yeah, they finally got them. So you can now ask about the review. And customers' reviews, the real ones, because that's what we are talking about here, are one of the most valuable things you can get from your customers besides money, of course. Thanks to them, most people will learn about how great your product is, and you can use them on your website and in your communication later. And it's also possible that actually you will learn what to improve. So the one important thing here is ask for the feedback few days after the customer receives his package. There's nothing more annoying than being asked for feedback when your shipment hasn't even arrived yet. And here, at the moment of asking about the review, I highly encourage you to use this moment to try to acquire user-generated content, UGC, and so-called testimonials from your customers. So it can be written reviews, photos, maybe even videos that you can use later on in your communication and on your websites. Encourage your customer to do so by offering them additional rewards, discounts, special points in your loyalty program that we'll talk later about. An example, great example that I really like and I'm showing often, it's a space goods brand, because even on their website, you can find a whole section of UGC with reviews and photos from their clients, and they use it a lot also in their communication, and I think it's great. So let's move to step 3. And after some time, the customer should get back to you to make another purchase. And don't be spontaneous here, and don't count on your customer to be spontaneous here, and don't count that they will remember about your brand. So plan how you will activate the customer for a second and for a third purchase, and design the flow. So great way to increase repeat purchase rate is to set up repeat purchase flow. And this flow is using predictive analytics and uses historical data and machine learning to forecast future outcomes. So you can anticipate which customers will buy again, when they might do, as well as how much they will spend. And it's like having a fortune teller actually for your sales. And thanks to that, you can surprise your customers with a special offer at the right time. And, like to get this predictive data, there are 2 ways actually. You can use built-in flows from your marketing automation tool, or just ask data analysts at your company to prepare such predictions based on customer data you have. So for example, imagine a customer using and enjoying your product, and just as it begins to run low, they can receive a gentle nudge from you, asking to refill, asking to rebuy. So you're anticipating their needs before they even arise, and you remind them that they need to rebuy the product. And you want the second and third order programs to be personalized. So it's great to attach them to the previous orders. So you can also use a cross-sell offer that is related to products that they previously purchased. Or you can find even more ideas for personalized messages about the user in your data collected. So about, for example, you can check what they were doing lately on your website, what products they were looking at for a long time at your website. Maybe they left something in the cart, in the basket that you can talk about in your email. So use all of that to make your communication more personalized, because there's a higher chance that they will convert. So the next chapter and the next very important step of customer engagement story is about turning certain actions into great rewards. So reward your customers for behaviors you love to see, like purchases, spreading the word, and staying loyal. The first thing you can do, and I think it's so-called low-hanging fruit, and it's easy to implement, it's a referral program. So you can usually implement it faster than advanced loyalty programs that we'll be talking later on. So it's the biggest advantage of this referral program is that it drives both sides. So its existing customer is driven to buy while you're also attracting the new ones to buy. And the simplest possible model is a direct discount program where you get the same discount for each referral, both you and the referrer. Another model you can implement is target program, where you get bigger discounts for more referrals. And you can send emails inviting customers to the referral program separately, and you can design the flow about it. Or you can include the information in your post-purchase flow, like, for example, Ritual brand does. So here is the example of Ritual. They're giving $5 for every referral, and it was in their post-purchase flow included from the very first email that you get after you purchase something. And more advanced and definitely reward doing step is building a loyalty program. Why? So as you see here, because the top performing loyalty programs boost revenue from customers who use them by 15 to 20% annually. That's why the game is definitely worth playing. So there are several types of loyalty programs you can implement. Here's I give 4 examples. And to answer the question, which one best fits your brand, do analysis of data on customers' behavior and define the goals you want to achieve. So in my opinion, 2 most interesting programs are paid loyalty and tiered rewards program. So let's start with paid loyalty program, where customers pay a fee to join. Why I think it's super interesting, firstly, because it's actually generates already additional revenue, because customer is paying a fee, so it's extra revenue stream. But the important thing to be told here is that this program is good for brands that they're already kind of big. Don't start with it. I would recommend. So another reason why I think it's interesting, it's because according to McKinsey, it's a very effective program. 43% is more likely to buy weekly from you. 59% is more likely to choose brand over competitors. And 62% is more likely to spend on the brand. So we see here that when people pay for something, they feel more motivated to use it. And in Poland, the great example of the company that is using this program, and you can test it on yourself of a customer, is Empik. They're using this paid loyalty program. And the second model, which is already very popular in the United States, is tiered program, which is actually based on gamification and achieving next levels in a game that you design. So participants have to perform certain tasks to get points. And this is a great opportunity to reward not only for purchases, because of course you want more purchases, but this is not the only thing you want, but also referrals, social media profile likes, leaving feedback, UGC photo on UGC video. So as you can see on the slide, the example of communication from native brand, they do it really fun and engaging, and above all, they do it clear. So this is great example of the program that you can implement to meet your goals. And the important thing about loyalty programs is to automate the entire communication process. So you should really make the most of any milestone here. Plan all the steps. Don't be afraid to send more emails. Don't be afraid to communicate with customer, because they really will appreciate it. You know, to give you an example, the only loyalty program I'm currently in, I currently participate in, is collecting żabsy in Żabka. Do you know why? Because the cashier in Żabka always asks me if I want to earn points, always. So be like Żabka cashier and always at the opportunity to earn points, let customers know about it. All right, let's now turn our attention to the next step and to our whales, those big fish in our customer sea who make the most significant impact in our business. The whales, it's like having star players on your team. You want to keep them happy and in the game. So how do we keep our VIPs feeling special? You know, it's all about using RFM, recency, frequency, and more monetary segmentation magic that you will get to know in the next presentation. So tailor your offer to segment behavior. All-time high customer lifetime value VIPs, give them early access to new products. Frequent purchases, early access to sale. Maybe are they big spenders? Prepare exclusive products just for them. So you can play here with different scenarios and do lots of A/B testing to see what works based on your most important customers. And remember, the loyalty program you create should appreciate VIPs, should appreciate those customers. So through the uniqueness of the offer, so they should get something better than the rest. And it's your job to find out what it should be. And here's the pro tip for you. You can use your email list of whale customers on any other segment that actually is, for example, big and really important for you to create lookalike meta campaigns and get on board similar people, or target special paid communication only to people from this segment, you know? So you can actually actively seek for people that are similar to your whales, to your VIP customers. And the last step that I'm going to talk about today is trying to re-engage customers who once bought something, but no longer respond and read your content. So they placed one order and you were trying to activate them before with second and third program, and they are really resistant. So you will ask me, Paulina, is it worth doing? And I would say yes, because win-back flows emails have an open rate of 29%, and 45% of people who open them is more likely to open future emails as well. So they're back in the game, you know, you got them. And that's why, please don't give up. Don't give up him, don't give up on them. Try to get these people back, especially that you have already spent a lot of money on acquiring them in the past. So, and you have tons of data about them and their behavior on their website and about the orders. So please use it. Find a time frame where 75 to 85 people, your customers, would repurchase, and tie up your win-back around this time. And, don't send one email, but to get most out of your win-back series without risking your sending reputation, because that's really important for you. And I don't have enough time to talk about it more. Send up to 5 emails and try to re-engage the people. So ask questions, play with the subject lines, give one-time super discount that tell them that this is the super discount and this is just one time and it's only for 2 days. And if you don't use it, then it's gone. Make a survey and, remember, some of them, they won't react. So just clean the list of people who are completely uninvolved and try to keep your email automations metric high thanks to that. So let's summarize the steps that we were talking about today. First of all, the most important thing is smart segmentation that you should start with when you're designing your retention strategy. Step 2 is to create outstanding post-purchase experience with the automation. And step 3, don't be spontaneous. As I said, plan for a second and third purchase. Step 4, create a referral and a loyalty program that you can use. So start step by step. If you're smaller, then maybe start with referral. And in the meantime, you are growing, build really consciously the loyalty program. Step 5, care for your whales. That means care for your VIP customers and actively seek for people that are similar to them. And step 6, win back most resistance customers. You already have data about them, they already bought from you, so don't just let them stay there in your lists. Activate them and engage them. Okay, so from me, it's everything today, and I'm really grateful for your time and wish you luck with implementing your retention strategies.
I can see that we have like 2 questions to this presentation on YouTube, so I don't know if we have time for them or you will just answer them in the comment section.
Maybe I will I will answer in the e-commerce section because I think we are running out of time, so
okay,
it will be easier.
Thank you so much, Paulina. And we have right now another Paulina with Arek. So because we don't have so much time, I just let you roll into it, and I will maybe just say, for those of you guys have joined, this event is led by Tri47 and Sublime. It's 2 agencies, one executes growth, it's Tri47, and one measures growth, and it's Sublime. And we are usually meeting on different projects. And this event is to share insights from some of our clients and also our work. And I'm going to mute myself now and give Arek and Paulina the stage.
Okay. I hope you are like, you see my screen. Yeah, so maybe Paulina, you will start.
Okay, hi, my name is Paulina Skrzypczak and I'm the head of performance marketing at Yorkaya.
Yeah, I'm Arek. As you probably already know, I'm the co-founder and chief executive officer of Sublime. And I think we will start with what's Yorkaya, what you're selling, stuff like that.
Yeah, so Yorkaya is a Polish brand of ecological products for intimate hygiene, as well as skincare and body care products with simple natural ingredients, free from chlorine and polyester. And Yorkaya is well known for breaking taboos and addressing intimate matters openly and directly. Yeah, and next. Yorkaya grows really rapidly. We are achieving a remarkable 60% year-over-year growth. Our customer base amounts to 200,000 people, and our direct-to-consumer channel, that means D2C channel, has an established dominance, contributing to approximately 60% of total revenue. And what also distinguishes Yorkaya is the subscription model.
I guess, yeah, like you started with D2C, yes, and you just recently entered into offline channels.
Yeah, that's why it's D2C is 60%. more than 1 year ago, it was 100%, but now it's divided into D2C and offline, right?
So you're like started in online, so you're like really like data-driven company.
Yeah, yeah, we are.
Oh, sorry.
What's also distinguishes Yourkaya is the subscription model that allows customers to receive products regularly. So every 1, 2, 3, or 6 months at discounted rates, saving their time, money, and letting them forget about remembering to restock. And this is really useful. I think that every woman at least once had the situation when she ran out of her tampons on razors. So I think that's a great idea. And instead of placing orders manually, the system remembers the customer choices. And this kind of order is called subscription renewal. And that's important because we will use this term later in this presentation. And the system organizes shipping and charges customer credit card automatically. But customers can also order our products in a traditional way. That's called one-time order. And that's another important term for today. So yeah, so let's remember these two terms.
And can you like share the information? What's the split between one-time orders and subscriptions, or just roughly?
Okay. When it comes to placing this first order, I think that about 30% of these orders is a subscription ones. But when you get this brand better and you know the products, so you are more likely to go into subscription. So that's this ratio switches changes after some time.
So the retention is really important for you.
Yeah.
And you are good at that.
Yeah. Moving forward, let's take a look at our retention activities, how they looked before the RFM strategy. We've been communicating through 2 channels, marketing automation emails and meta ads, that means Facebook ads. These channels were managed separately with different strategies. And moreover, we've implemented a loyalty program that aims to provide additional incentives and benefits, creating a stronger connection with our customers and encouraging them to return to us and make another purchase in our store. And customers in this loyalty program can earn points through purchases. They get 1 point for every 1 zloty spent. They also can earn additional points for extra actions like following our fan page, giving us a product review, or uploading UGC photos, etc. And these points can be later redeemed for discount coupons or free products. And as an addition to the loyalty program, customers have the opportunity to refer Yourkaya to their friends, providing them with a discount on their first order. In return for a successful referral, customers receive extra bonus points in our loyalty program. And let's dive into the specific retention actions taken in marketing automation emails. So we segmented our emails based on the time from the last purchase and order type, so either subscription or one time, but disregarding specific customer behavior, for example, customer LTV, LTV, number of purchases already made, frequency of purchases, etc. And with the use of our loyalty program, we were encouraging our customers to make another purchase to earn some extra points. And for those who already have enough points, we were reminding them that they could redeem these points for a discount during their next purchase. And additionally, we had some cross-selling a few days before renewal for subscribers, and after a certain time from the last order for one-timers. And here you can see some examples of emails we were sending this time. And unlike our approach in emails, meta ads were non-segmented, targeting our whole customer base, of course, excluding those who have bought in a few last days, but the communication was rather generic. And here, as you can see, it was rather generic because it was targeted on all customers. So no matter what they were buying and how many times did they bought. And sometimes some activities were exposed only to one-timers. For example, when we wanted to encourage them to switch to subscription. But over time, this tactic had evolved, and shortly before RFM, we tested a simple basic segmentation for customers with a last order more than 6 months ago, so a long time, and rather they were sleepy ones. We offered targeted discounts to incentivize their next purchase. And for clients with a last order within a few weeks ago, we presented cross-sell opportunities with products they hadn't purchased yet. Yeah, and now let's examine the outcomes of these activities in both channels. So firstly, there were no significant effects on customer retention that we could clearly observe. We faced a problem figuring out if the orders were from customers who actually hadn't bought for a long time, or from those who would have made a purchase anyway without our involvement. So it was challenging to identify how many of these purchases were truly incremental. The only trend we could observe was that the campaigns with discount codes stood out as the most effective, which provided us with somewhat unsurprising insight. Yeah, so that was our background shortly. Yeah, and that moves us to the context of why we decided to make some changes in our retention approach and collaborate with the guys from Sublime. So we felt that there was more we could do to keep our customers engaged. And we saw that there was some untapped potential and we wanted to make the most of it. We had resources like budget available, but we needed a way to measure our efforts and understand the impact of our strategies on sales. Also, we wanted to improve personalization for better results. Yeah, so we asked Sublime what we could do together to create a smart, comprehensive retention strategy using the data they collect and that they already have.
Yeah, so it happened like a couple of months ago, I guess.
Yeah.
We have been working together, I think, from the day one with when Marek like started like your Kaya. So we have like we have all your data. So it was fun for us to answer to meet this challenge. Yeah, quick reminder, because I have this slide here. I hope I'm not boring you guys. The Sublime is an analytics platform that helps identify growth opportunities for D2C, like your Kaya or Health Lab or Psi Buffet, and also e-commerce brands. And we do it by like integrating the data from different systems. So from marketing systems, from e-commerce system like Shopify, and from web tracking system like GA4. We then create like beautiful dashboards and segments like RFM segments, and then we like activate the data so we can like send the segments to different destinations. So a couple of words about what's RFM segmentation, because Paulina Wardak mentioned that, and we are talking about RFM, but what it is. So it's a quite simple and intuitive way to segment customers. The segmentation is based on like 3 dimensions. The first dimension is recency. So R stands for recency. And it means it measures when the last time the customer made a purchase. So as you probably noticed, like Paulina mentioned that they use the time of the last order as a dimension for their segmentation. So it's the same thing. So the recency. Then we have a frequency. So the F stands for frequency, and it means like how often the customer makes purchases. So I think that's self-explanatory. And the monetary, so the M stands for monetary, and that means the average order value for the customer. So if the average order value is high, it means like the customer is like making big purchases and could be potentially like very valuable to us. So so each customer in RFM segmentation, each customer is evaluated based on these 3 dimensions. And what we do, we take every dimension and try to create like 5 groups in every dimension. So if we are talking about recency, so the number of days from the last order, we can create 5 groups that can tell us when was the last time the customer was active. So as you can see on the slide, the first group is a great one. It's the 5th group, but first from the left is a gray one, and it means like the customer was active like 0 to like 50 days ago. The next group is like from 50 to 100 days ago, and so on and so forth. So we create like a group of customers, the clusters, and we do it for recency, we do it for frequency, we do it for monetary. So each customer is assigned a specific score in every of the 3 dimensions. So for example, customer can be like recency score 1, frequency score 2, and monetary score 2. So every customer has a score like that. And that's the theory and the statistics, and a little bit of business now. So why do we need this segmentation, and what it can give us in terms of increasing the retention? So let's say that we have a customer, or we have a group of customers that is that has a quite large, quite high monetary score. So it means that they are making, or they were making big value purchases. So the average spend value is high. Also, their frequency is high. So it means that they are, or they used to make purchases quite often. So we have like, when we combine those 2, we have customers that made like big purchases quite often. So it looks very promising. And for example, we can also assign them a recency score and take only the customers that made the purchase like that made the purchase 100 or larger number of days ago. So we have quite customers that were quite good, and they are not making purchases right now. So they're quite attractive from the point of the retention, or the retention activation, let's say. And we can call them, for example, falling enthusiasm, because it means that they have money, they used to be a really good customers, but for some reason we lost the connection with them, and they are not like buying from us. So following this way of thinking, we can calculate like 10 intuitive segments and create like 3 broad groups of customers. So we have best customers. So those are customers that were very loyal, and they love our brand. So they're still active, and they are making big purchases quite frequently. We have also customers that are new customers that, for example, joined like a couple of weeks ago, are making big purchases, but the frequency is not there yet. And we have the third big group fading away. So it means in this group we have all the segments of customers that were either once good customers or we lost them, and this is the group that is from the perspective of retention is the most valuable for us. And here we have the falling enthusiasm group that or the falling enthusiasm segment that I have just described. So with Yorkaya, so the Yorkaya saw the opportunity here, and they asked us to create a falling enthusiasm segment, and we tried to target some communication in Meta to this group in order to reactivate those customers and see if the cost of like serving the ads will be like outweighed by the incremental revenue that we can get from these customers, from reactivating these customers, the customers that were once very good customers for your Kaya. So we created this one segment, falling enthusiasts, and we chose Meta as a communication channel, and we automatically sent customer list from your Kaya database to Meta like every day. So the customers that were entering the falling enthusiasm segment were like added, and the customers that were no longer in falling enthusiasm segment were deleted every day from the list in Meta. We calculated the incremental revenue. Mateusz, like in his presentation at the beginning, mentioned that it's quite important to know the incremental revenue, the incremental value, and not only the attributed value, because sometimes you can like target the customers that would otherwise come to you, and you are like paying for them double. Yeah, paying double. So incremental revenue is important, and we approach this problem using like the experiments methodology. So we divided the customers, the falling enthusiasm segment, into two groups: a treatment group and a control group. So the treatment group was served the ad, so that was like 85% of the customers, and the control group, 50% of falling enthusiast segment, didn't see the ad. So we wanted to make sure that if there was a difference between the outcome only due to the ad in Meta being served, or if there wasn't. So the test ran for 2 weeks, and we presented during those 2 weeks, 2 messages were presented. First was the loyalty program message, and the other one was the discount message. Yeah, maybe Paulina can tell you a little bit about.
Sure. So as Arek said, in the initial 7-day period of this test, customer received messages about a discount that could be redeemed using their loyalty points, with the potential to reach up to 100 zlotys. But this communication was rather general, as the discount level depended on the accumulated points in each account. So yeah, it was rather general that you can gain up to 100 zlotys of a discount. In the next 7 days, we focused on a 15% discount with a special promo code, regardless of the level of loyalty points. I will tell you which variant won in a few minutes, but I would like Arek to tell about general results of this test.
Yeah, so test results, you can see the test results here. They're like in Polish zloty, if anybody is like interested. That's the revenue generated by the control and the treatment group, and the difference between the control and the treatment group is the incremental revenue that were generated by this ad. So the results seem quite robust, and we were able to match like 90% of customers in Meta, because we were like sending like emails and information about the customers, and the Meta has to find those customers on their site. So the match rate was 90%, and that was quite good. We were a little bit surprised. So the data that they have are really good. So 90% of customer matched by Meta, and 21,000 zloty in incremental revenue was generated, and that's the 38% uplift versus control group, and that's also in the title of this presentation. So mystery solved. And yeah, Paulina, maybe you can like talk a little bit about the cost side.
Yeah, we spent around 1,200 zlotys to reach the whole target group enough number of times, and during these 2 weeks, and the ROAS reached an impressive 16. That's totally game changer. But you have to remember that also that this group was wasn't very, very, very big. It was enough for us to be very important, but it wasn't like 2 million people, right? So we didn't need too much, so much money to spend to reach them, and I think that's very, very good part to remember, that your retention activities don't have to be very, very expensive. Yeah, sometimes you only need 1,000 or 2,000 zlotys to reach them in a very, very efficient way, as you can see. And coming back to creatives results, while ads offering a 15% discount drove much more conversions than those with loyalty program discounts. No big surprise, but it's worth highlighting that the loyalty program discounts had the highest usage. So surprisingly, only a small percentage of orders utilized the minus 15% coupon. And this suggests that the communication about 15% discount motivated users to check their accounts and find the loyalty discounts in this account, which probably was more beneficial for most of them. So we can see here some disproportion between creatives and actual purchases, but all of these insights are very, very good for us and good for our business. So that's okay, and yeah, really great for us. And yeah, and here you can see our plans for fully implementing this RFM strategy, because as you can see, it really worked for us during this test, and we see a big opportunity to implement the whole strategy here. And we want to address the unique needs of each segment through personalized communication across email, SMS, and meta channels, all synchronized all together. And here you can see a simplified scheme illustrating how customers flow between segments while engaging in various purchasing behaviors. So on the left side, we can see a woman after her first purchase in our store. And she becomes a new passion, and depending on what will she do in the next few months, she will either go to potential lawyers or to about to be one night stand segment. Yeah, very good name for that. Thank you, guys. And after she will go to potential lovers, she may become either loyals, lovers, or unrealized potential if she doesn't buy again for some time. So that goes like this. And if the specific customer doesn't buy for a long time again, she may become a lost one. Yeah, so the first group, maybe Arek, you can mark them. The green ones, these are the best ones. So we want to nurture them, engage them, suggest them new products, and maintain a positive relationship for them, because they make really, really big revenue for us, and they are very, very valuable customers for us. The next ones are these newcomers, as I said previously, and we aim to take care of them and transition as many as possible of them to the lawyers and lovers. Yeah, that's easy. Maybe easy to say, but not as easy to make. Yeah, but we were working on it. And the next ones are these fading away ones. So we want to prevent them from slipping away and becoming lost. And these lost marked in red, they are already lost, and so they haven't bought for a really, really, really long time. And sometimes we make an effort to recover them, but if unsuccessful, we consider leaving them alone, because it would be a very, very high effort to try to recover them again. So sometimes it's much cheaper to just leave them alone and focus on, for example, those fading away that are still yellow ones. Yeah, and that's why that's our strategy in a very, very short description. And
looks like work for
yeah.
like 1 year at least.
Yeah. And currently, as a next step of this implementing this RFM strategy, we're conducting similar tests as was on Meta, and now we are doing it in marketing automation on the same segment, so falling enthusiasts. So stay in touch with us to receive the results as soon as we get them. And that's all from my side. Maybe you have some additional questions. I can see that there are some on chat, but I don't think they are more about your Kaya, not this presentation. So
do you want to like answer them after, or
maybe after, because I have no information. I have some information who made Shopify for your Kaya, but it were, I think, 2 companies, one after another. So I want to make sure before I will answer.
I think we are like out of time. Yes, so probably like answering the comments in the comment section will be like the best idea.
Yeah, and we are about to start the panel. So I have just one. I'm very happy with this presentation. You guys did great, and I love the segmentation enthusiasm of your Kaya. That looks great, and I'm really keen to learn after you guys implement the whole thing. So the further plan slide was very impressive.
Yeah.
And we're about to start the panel discussion, where we have a little challenge because one of the panel participants just got sick today and can't talk. So I was thinking, Arek, maybe you stay with us through the panel and you serve as this like, unexpected guest who's gonna represent the data of all the hundreds of clients that Sublime is looking into.
Okay. I will try to cover.
Because,
I know I can say no. So thank you guys, and we will just move to panel.
Yeah, so let's see if our panelists are already here. And thank you, Paulina. Let me, in such case, just quickly share the screen. And I will just do it for a very brief second to give you guys an overview of like what was happening for now and what's going to happen now. So we started this event at 11. We had a really insightful talk by Mateusz, who was talking about micro-segmentation in a very big supplement e-commerce business. I think it was cool. Like we learned that some of the experiments can actually create a difference, but some of these differences were small. So then sometimes we have to really ask ourselves if that's really worth an effort, but these guys are really segmenting the database even when it comes to the promotion activities, which I think it's pretty rare in most of the businesses that we have a chance to work with. Then we had Paulina from Tribe47, who was presenting different approaches to loyalty. And I think it was a cool presentation that gave an overview of marketing automation stuff that you can do to retain customers, but she also gave some of her opinions about the loyalty programs and which of them work the best for different types of businesses. And then we had our recent talk by Arek and Paulina, who were talking about RFM segmentation, which is something that I hear everyone is constantly trying to implement in their businesses. It's apparently just one framework, but every business kind of does it in a little bit of their own style. And they shared some of a very promising results coming from really playing with the meta advertising for very precise segments within the RFM strategy and showing the plans of how they're actually going to pull it into the Klaviyo system. So now we've got the end of this event, we did 5 of such events before, Tribe and Sublime, and they were live. They were in Warsaw. So this first time we're actually doing it online. Not first time ever, but first time in this series of events. So I wonder how it's going to go. The panels were always the highlights of our events. It was usually funny or sometimes controversial. Very often our panelists didn't really agree with each other on some of the matters. So I wonder how it's going to be today. So our topic is e-commerce leads and best practices for customer acquisition and retention. And we've got some great people on this panel. We were supposed to have Maciej, but as I said, he got sick and we will not have him today. So instead of Maciej Baranowski, we've got Arek Wiśniewski, who's CEO and founder of Sublime, analytics company for e-commerce. And Arek gonna wear today a data hat. He's looking into data of various e-commerce businesses, and he actually sees which lead acquisition and retention strategies work. And I'm going to be asking him about some of these insights. Sometimes they are also controversial because in some businesses it works. Yeah, in some businesses it works, in some businesses it doesn't. Then we've got Adrian Grindley, who is CEO and founder of Pop Creative Agency. We got connected through mastermind group of marketing agencies from Europe. And Adrian's agency is dealing with different CRO strategies, but really what's the most interesting about their company is that they're focused precisely on customer journey and customer experience. So they're digging into the customer data to optimize user acquisition and retention. And this is where I'm going to be really trying to get the most out of Adrian, because actually we don't work on the same businesses. He has a very different know-how. He has a very different batch of fishes that he deals with. So I'm super curious about his insights. And finally, we've got Martyna, who's the e-commerce and brand manager from Żabka Już, a part of Light E-commerce, one of really innovative e-grocery companies in Poland, who actually is very interesting because she deals with app-based business. Żabka Już is like mobile-first e-grocery. And there's not many of such businesses really in any country because it's still like a very fresh segment. It was booming for the last few years. In Poland, it's also quite fresh. Żabka Już is quite fresh. I think it's like 2 years in the market, but growing super rapidly. And obviously, the very big challenge is in terms of technology that can serve properly the mobile-first businesses. And I think Martyna is going to share that perspective. I'm also very curious. Our company works with Martyna's company, so we know a little bit about it. But I'm sure for you guys, this is going to be eye-opening. So we're going into it. As I said before starting this panel, I'm going to moderate, but I want all the speakers to feel that during this hour, we want to learn as much from each other as we can. And that way, I hope we're going to give the best value to people who are watching us. So are you guys ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing because that way people are going to see us. So the questions are only on my screen, and hopefully that's fine. So the first thing that I wanted to ask you about is really a very broad question, but I think important. So how important are lead generation and lead nurturing activities in the businesses that you work at, or businesses that you are helping, or businesses that, like Arek, you are observing secretly? So how important, like if you would measure the importance the way you want, how important? So maybe let's start with Martyna. So how important are acquiring and then nurturing leads for Żabka Już?
I would say it's a crucial part of our business because like if we won't build like stable base of clients, the business will be disappear simply. So this is like the crucial elements of the business. And thanks to, you know, like acquiring customer like leads and then creating like the whole path for them, to nurturing them, like educating them about our new business. Like you said, Żabka Już is a really new concept. So the first of all, we need to, you know, like prepare clients what's the product is, how the product is going to solve their problems. So whole nurturing and whole welcoming phase of the circle is really important, because thanks to that we are able to a little bit like push our leads to become our loyal customers. So this is very important, and this is like part of acquiring, but it's really connected with retention, because when you invest the budget to collect new users, you simply can't lose them. So it's also very important to stay in touch, to like make them remember about your product, about your services, and trying to, you know, understand why, for example, they are leaving. So and trying to avoid that situation. So the whole process from acquiring the leads, then trying to make them a customer, and then trying to make them loyal customer, I would say it's the most important part of the, for example, my job.
Yeah, and you know, I can add one thing on top of it, because we work with Żabka Już, and we had one event even before about differences between the mobile first and web first e-commerce. And you know, the first point is that it's so much more expensive to acquire customer with the mobile only e-commerce business. It's so much more expensive. So once you already pay that money, you're like, damn,
yeah,
you
just can't lose them. And like the barrier to acquire a customer for a mobile app is a little bit higher, because the effort the leads needs to make to be your customer is quite huge, I would say, because we are living in the, you know, environment when people are uploading so many applications, but they are very often don't use them. So it's really important to, first of all, like catch the attention, try to, you know, convince someone that the application is worth to download. But then there is also like the huge step to take to really convince them to register and really use them, not only have it on your phone. So yeah, that's I think in terms of website, it's a little bit easier, because the access to the product is it's much more simpler than in terms of application.
And Adrian, so how it is for the clients of your agency? How important is the lead gen and nurturing part? Because I know we always say like, oh, it's important, but you know, I know some businesses that don't do it at all, and they still are alive, like they still function, they still milk, you know, the market, whatever. So how important, and why important for some, maybe for others a bit less? Do you have some of your?
Yeah, I would say, well, that's an interesting question, because it's kind of like, how important is it to customers that we deal with? When we start working with them, it's probably not that important to them. I think that for us, it's so important to try and understand your customer so well, to try and understand what they're looking for, what gaps can you fill, where's their understanding about your product or your service, where's that missing, and what can you provide them with that they would understand? Or, you know, if it was a quiz, or it's a way that they this is what I'm after as a customer, and I need to understand how the website filters or functions, or how it works. And what's interesting is that most people don't think about it this way. I don't think most people think about it this way. I think, as you say, they're making money, these things are coming in, it kind of all looks okay on the balance sheets to some degree. There's a slide that I share quite often. I haven't got it with me, but there's a slide that I share often with clients of ours, which is if you run a coffee shop and you said, how's your coffee? I guess it's very nice. You're face to face with someone, but when you've only got analytics, it's very difficult to know it's kind of difficult to know your customers. People see huge amounts of data. They see 50,000 hits in the last week to our website. So they're looking at this very large number and they're not really understanding that user. So actually the kind of how important it is to them is making sure that they understand what their customers wanting and what they're, I think that's
so you're giving this perspective that lead acquisition and nurturing is not just about making money, but it's about understanding the customer, right?
Yeah, totally. I think that's where companies like Apple and things like succeed, because they really understand what their customers are after, and that generates the lead acquisition, that generates the kind of feel that people get about it. They love it because they feel like they're being looked after. They feel like they've got everything that they want. It feels like it's talking to them. So it's really important to understand that customer. Yeah.
And Arek, like you see a data and just this kind of backstage of many e-commerce businesses. So how important is lead acquisition and nurturing for businesses? Do they really take it seriously, or they don't really take it seriously? Or
so my point of view is a little bit,
yeah.
Well, so my point of view is a little bit skewed, because our business model, our tool is for people that take care of retention. So from what I see in the data, they are really hard trying to understand how people, when they are returning, why they are returning, what products make people return, which products are in a way of getting back and stuff like that. So I see this kind of this portion of the e-commerce business. But from all the talks that I have with the prospects, and our existing clients, I can see that the retention part is getting more and more important. Not only because the direct to consumer model being adopted by more and more, even the, let's say, old e-commerce players or the brands that are already in the game. But also because the VCs are now looking not only on the spend but also want to fund the company that they're investing in, e-commerce company that they're investing in, to control the lifetime value as well as the cost side of the customers that are being acquired. So right now, the clients that we are working with, for the clients that we are working with, or the VCs that we are talking to, it's not only important the amount of users that are being acquired, but also their quality. So the retention is the proxy of the quality. So more and more organizations are now getting into measuring the retention, measuring customer lifetime value, and without that you are driving blind, so you can hit the tree, because I know one company that is not measuring anything, and it's D2C company, and they're doing great, but that's I think that's a coincidence. So for the majority of them, they need good analytics, and we can see that on the market. Yeah.
I can just add one thing on top of it, that it's also a little bit about the type of business. If you're selling one-offs, if you're selling very expensive beds, for example, and mattresses, I had one business that approached us once with that kind of product, and it's a one-off thing, yeah. And then there is this big question, would you even care about collecting leads and then, retaining the conversation. And there can be an answer that maybe no, because you can still be making money by optimizing your advertising spend. And that's really where the money comes from, because it's one of when they're going to buy the next mattress, probably in like the next, 10 years, if the product is really good. But then from what Adrian said, like, the market is getting very competitive. Sometimes someone can visit your site and your app, and they might not be really ready to purchase right now. So there's your chance to really understand a bigger size. Like if, the average conversion in any e-commerce is somewhere between 1.5 and 5%. So there's like tons of people who are entering your shops, and you are not collecting any information, not even information that you can use to optimize later. So I think more and more companies are kind of getting to it. Or if you don't collect the email, like how do you learn even if this mattress was comfortable? Like you have no way to do that.
Well, I think that's really interesting as well, because I think that where people don't appreciate so I think that there's so attribution is very difficult in as we well know. And if you look after someone in terms of the sale, so the sale goes well, you send them an email, you send them some information on your social media, you keep them feeling engaged, everything's like you really roll out the red carpet for them to feel like they've been a great customer for the one-off sale, that person will then share that with other people through things that we can't track. So someone on a 30-person WhatsApp group might say, hey, I'm after a mattress. Has anyone bought a mattress recently? Yeah, this company were amazing. They were so good with us, and they looked after and they responded to my emails. And there's your sales. There you go back and I think so that it's almost like, and you can't track that. It's very difficult to know where that person came from.
Yeah, it's a cycle between retention and acquisition. And even for this kind of a precise case where maybe focusing on acquisition and retention of leads does not make sense, it still makes sense. But I agree with Wardak, like in D2C segments, is in FMCG, I think everyone who is serious right now is making some moves and serious moves on retention. And it's no wonder that today we had talks about micro-segmentation and RFMs. But I tell you one thing from my experience as Tribe, because we actually work mostly with the FMCG right now. And usually the companies who come to us for advice, they're in different stages, but usually either very early, they just got financing, or maybe they were growing on their own and now they just want to grow faster. Everyone is having troubles with that part. So it's like everyone wants to do it, but everyone also has trouble because there's no one way to do it properly. And, some of the methods, as we know, are sometimes feeling a little bit artificial. If you say, like, you're getting this email like, hi, thank you for buying my product, do you want to leave a review? It all feels a little bit like, people say like, why would it work? Like, I would never click on it, but that's that's the whole thing. How you make it work. So before I ask, what are your strategies? Wardak, go for
it. So one thing like came to my mind, like when you said about like emails being artificial and stuff like that, I've noticed, and I think that's also like the Health Lab strategy, that they're like using a lot of SMS, and the open rate of the SMS is super high, and that seems to be like an outdated method, but I think it's super work, at least for now. And it doesn't look like artificial. It's like it's something that I read every time, and I don't want to like buy any like more like supplements from them, but I'm still like reading that. That's insane.
But it's still the
nice
channel.
Insight.
Yeah,
I just said that this is nice insight because, for example, we are not using that. Maybe this is a mistake if it's so engaging.
Yeah, you can like contact Mateusz and you can like ask him, or like just subscribe to their like, or buy something once from them, and you can like see
what it's okay, great.
Yeah,
you're using pushes, which are like similar, but similar but different, still within your app. Okay, now before we go to your best techniques like SMS, sure, one of the ways to target. Now, question, the technology question. I think this is the question we can have like for hours, but what are the most common technologies that you are seeing in e-commerce right now for lead acquisition and nurturing? How do you really approach choosing the technology, like the software for that matter? I know it's a very broad topic, but maybe you guys can share at least some insight that you think can be helpful. Like, how did you guys approach it? Martina, you can start. I think your case was very specific, but I think it will be interesting to hear.
Yeah, I would say that I don't think there is like one tool who rules them all, and I will, like go now with some recommendation. Like based on my experience, I would say that the key to even start choosing the software and planning the process is first of all like thinking about the goals. First of all, what do you want to do with your, for example, customer base? What are the key important goals for your company? And what are the different ways of communicating with your users, which you will need to use to engage with them? And the huge second topic is what are your capability in your company? So if you have, for example, like the team who will be able to plug in all of the necessary softwares, if there is a knowledge about that, or if not, should we, for example, hire someone right now? And then if you already gather data that are crucial for the next step. So like this kind of audit about what kind of data the organization is already gathering is very important, I think, because sometimes we facing the case when the software is already, like chosen, you want to start the process, and then it turns out that you don't have, for example, the specific data, the specific metrics that will help you to create like a marketing automation process. So my advice would be to, first of all, think about what is the capability of the organization, what's the data you will need further to check if you already gather it, if there are good data, there needs a little bit of cleaning, then goals, and then trying to find the tool within your budget. And I think the cherry on top is marketing consent, because very often like businesses don't remember about that. When you start to do marketing automation, you need to have the marketing consent to even contact your customers. So this is also something you need to prepare in advance, just to be ready when the tool is settled, to really have a base of contacts to interact with. So that would be my answer to the question.
Do you want to share, Martina, with which tool you guys are working with, or you don't want to share it?
I don't know if I can, so maybe I will skip this question.
Okay. Okay, and maybe Adrian. So just a simple question in that regards, like majority of the businesses that you work with, like which software for marketing automation are they using?
Yeah, I'm sort of with Martina on that. We use, I think the general ones are things like HubSpot and Zoho and Keep, very popular. I think that a lot of the time we'll come into an organization and they're already if they're looking for a HubSpot partner or something like that, then they'll choose a HubSpot partner. So that isn't us, but a lot of the time they'll come to us and they'll already have tools in place like Zoho. We tend to map out. I mean, again, this is something that people don't really do, but just literally map out exactly how you see the whole process working, and actually to brainstorm that, to sit down and draw that out and say, from a perspective of how we want it to work, how do we want it to go through, and then we can choose the relevant tool from that. I would also very much agree with Eric on the text messaging things. So you can use text messaging with Keep, and there's a few others that we use for text messaging. The interesting thing is about those type of tools and those type of techniques, and I banged on at the beginning about the kind of always like seeing what the customer wants, and customers will say, I hate pop-ups. I don't like any pop-ups that, you know, offers or anything like that. And if you speak to Eric, he will tell you, well, actually, if we put a pop-up on the homepage with a 10% discount on your first order, we will see an increase in sales by da 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 da. So actually, what customers are telling you is very different to what they actually do, and you've got to really
also
try.
This percentage here, like 90% say they like it, but there's this 10 that you need. Yeah, so that's something.
Yeah, and there's a balance. There's a real balance, because the data that Eric will be seeing will be different to what actually people are telling you. But in the reality is, with the text messaging thing, it does work. Like we see it a lot where and so yeah, I think it's really important to kind of like work out at the basis what your actual achievement is that you want to get to. But there are those certain fundamentals that still exist now. I think it no matter going into 2024, there's lots more automation tools available, but I think it's still sticking to the core of what you actually want it to do, what you actually want to do to people. There's so many tools out there, really.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. And Arek, like, what do you usually see? Is it Klaviyo that, because for example, a lot of D2C businesses, they actually work on the Klaviyo, which is like, we can say quite simple app, but maybe Arek, you see others as well. Like, what's your experience? What tools you usually see?
So I would agree with Martyna. She said that there is like no one tool, and like the technology stack is really segmented. Probably it will maybe it will turn into like one big like Salesforce like tool in the future, but we will see. But I think like the Klaviyo you mentioned is quite popular, but I think like its popularity is because of having like good integration with Shopify. And Shopify is super popular in the US and United Kingdom, but it's like entering Poland right now. So we are like seeing more and more customers like migrating to Shopify as well, from like WooCommerce or from other platforms. And then also like then they're like asking us what's the platform that is like working best with Shopify. Klaviyo is a platform. So that's how it goes. But we are also like seeing like some like local tools being used, or like emerging one like User.com or others, and they're all different a little bit. They are like different. So some of them like have better analytics. The other one like have RFM segmentation built in. Some don't. Or so it depends on the choice of the tool depends on the target, on the aim that you want to achieve. Yeah, and I think like the integration part is very important, because once you choose like a tool that has like no integrations, it will be really difficult to do something with the data, or it will be like very expensive. So probably it's like a good choice for bigger organizations that when they know what they want and they can like pay for that. But for people or for companies that are like starting, I think it's a big obstacle. It's better like to stack with the let's say standard stack, technology stack, and then migrate.
Yeah, I mean, I can add on top of it that compatibility and this integration, I think it's the most crucial. It's what each of you said in a way. if you're choosing, like make sure it actually merges with your e-commerce platform, because if it doesn't, you will not be able to collect the data. And in the end, the data is super crucial for you to make any optimizations, to improve anything. When you're in mobile app segment, it's a bit easier job because you have much more limited choice. So that's maybe in Martina's case easier because like the pool is smaller. If
It
you
is true.
yeah, if you're e-commerce that is like web-based, again, start with like what you're on, Shopify, WooCommerce, or if you have like a really custom built system, that's the worst case. You have to make sure that whatever you're gonna choose will play nicely with your shopping platform, and you will be able to transmit data between your automation system and your shop. Even if you will not be able to do it from the very start, because sometimes, like you have to prioritize different things, at least know that in the future you'll be able to get there. So I think that's important.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that there is like one danger, like with choosing like the standard tools, because yeah, we all understand what are the benefits, but when you're like starting a company, you have the secret sauce, and and with everybody's like using the same tools, like sometimes there's no place for your secret sauce, for example, in the user flow or user experience, stuff like that. So it's always something for something. Yeah.
So also the flexibility of the solution, right? So that's the thing. The more complex the solution, the more expensive it is, but also gives you a potential in the future to build more advanced stuff, right? So I agree. But then, did you guys have a situation in your career where you had to change the whole automation stack in the business that you were working? Adrian, did you advise it to any of your customers to totally change the automation stack, and did they follow? Or
yeah, well, actually, funny one was that we set up some automations. We started to collect some data, and we found out that the company had already started it or done it with another company, and they'd got a big database, and they were already running some separate. They were effectively running two lots of automations, and they sort of hadn't highlighted it. We audited it, and we found out that this was happening. Where's this other stuff coming from? And so there was a very, I think people get into this very confused kind of and we had swapped to a completely different system. But it's very difficult to swap people from one place to another, and with GDPR, and you've got to make sure that you're consenting to move people's data from one place to another and things like that. So that can be quite a challenge.
We have been going through this process with one of our clients during 2023. It was like some project that the company expected to last 2 months lasted actually 6 months. Yep. And a lot of people had to be involved. So obviously, if you need to do it, you need to do it. And sometimes there's really no other choice, because you're running on a very simple solution that doesn't match the scale of your business and requirements of your clients, and you just have to upgrade. That was the case in this company, but there was already a huge database of customers, and transitioning this, keeping like all the constants in place, making sure that the constant collection, as Martina said, in the system that was implemented again, it was a very difficult project. And this is the part of the projects and that's something that Martina also mentions, that marketers sometimes don't like so much, because marketers love acquisition, they love creative stuff, they love the ads, they love the whole thing, like, let's do another promo campaign, it's all exciting. Like, we marketers want to show to the world something new, get new customers, get the buzz. This is a hard work. It's like, step by step, sometimes taking months. You don't see progress so fast. So that's the job for more the builders than the stars. So we have to know which people on the team. I think it was a very good comment from Martina that you need to have a capability inside the organization of people that will actually oversee this process. They will have patience, they will build it, they will test things, but not because, oh, there's a new thing, I'm gonna test it. It has to be like step by step implemented. And okay, going to the next question, like what are the, maybe Martina, I don't know if you will want to talk about the acquisition of the leads because you're more dealing with retention, but still you can throw in something like, but what are the most interesting and effective forms of acquiring the leads with consent in the businesses that you work with? Because we are concentrating on this event on retention, but to retain someone, we still need to have their email address or phone number or consent to send them a push message. So what are the ways that you are advising your clients to collect, or what are the ways that most of the companies collect that you see the most effective? So what are the most effective acquisition strategies for leads of different formats?
I would say it's probably very different from different type of the company. For example, B2C will be very different than B2B, but I think the one common thing will be like the really good and relevant content. So maybe this is like really basic reply, but I think sometimes people don't remember about that people want to see like relevant information about the brand. They want to really, to be the future customer, you really need to understand what the business is about, what the products offer or the services, what it's offer, what's solution can give you, what problem it will solve. So the answer for me is content, because if you prepare like very good strategy for creating the content and trying to like push the potential lead from like the starting point of awareness, of education, him or she about the company and the benefits of it. And then like trying to go deeper, this will be like maybe the more basic, but I think the more relevant strategy to lead generation. And I think that's the same with retention, because still, if you want to try to, keep the customer in a loop and convince him or she to, make another purchase, you need to be in touch. And no one wants to receive the information which are not interesting for them. So this is really connected also with kind of personalization. So trying to, prepare relevant information for suitable segments of your customers.
Yeah. And obviously in e-commerce, the most relevant information is usually about the promotion on different products or different discounts you can get. But what are your observations, Adrian, from the clients that you work with? Like, what are the most effective ways to gather leads with consents?
Yeah, I think that people genuinely, if they genuinely want to take an offer up, or they want to, they do want to sign in, you will get the consent from those users. Generally, people will be okay with that, I think, and especially if the product that they're buying or they like the brand a lot, they don't mind receiving emails, or they don't mind receiving push messages, or that actually they like it, I think, generally speaking. And I think that people who genuinely want to stay private there's so many tools out there now to allow you to be private, and to I think that's one sort of thing. I think people are getting much smarter at keeping their privacy if they really want to. Our experience is that actually a lot of people consent and say, yeah, I'm fine with you tracking me, I'm fine if you looking at information. I think one of the most frustrating things is that we see quite a lot is that So I'll give you an example. You sign up to a newsletter, you receive your newsletter, you click on a newsletter link to an offer, you hit the website, and immediately you get a pop-up and it says, sign up to our newsletter for a 10% discount. And you go, you've just sent me from an email to your website with and so the challenge is there in a way is kind of segmentation and looking at like how you're treating that customer, because instantly that becomes annoying and you kind of go, I'm already signed up to your newsletter. Why aren't you giving me some other information? It sort of leads on to a whole personalization, even a small personalization thing. But that becomes a challenge because you're trying to get your customers to understand, your customers as in our customers, to understand you have to do things slightly differently. You have to treat your customers slightly differently. And we always try and say to people, imagine it in a physical shop. If you've given someone come over here and we'll give you a discount, and then you're trying to push something in their face straight away, it kind of just doesn't work. You've got to think of them as human beings. So if you sent them an email out saying, here, go on our site for a 10% discount, and then it says sign up to our email, it just doesn't. I think those are big challenges really for most organizations, where they haven't looked at like how that flow happens.
Yeah, I think it's crucial to focus on the customer journey from the moment they open the push notification on an email and going to the app, because at the end you want them to buy something, but you can't like throw all of the things like you said to the face of them, because they can buy all of the things you have in the app. Yeah, totally.
And Arek, like how the companies that you work with, how they collect leads, like is it mostly on the buying stage, or are they pushing some lead acquisition earlier on? Like what's their...
Okay, so firstly, I would agree with Adrian, because I hate when companies are not listening to me or people are not listening to me. So if I already like sign up for a newsletter and they are like urging me to sign up for another one, that's really frustrating. It's like in the real life, you tell somebody something and it means that he doesn't listen. So. And in terms of like leads, to be honest, like our analytics starts with not always, but usually with the first purchase. So first purchase is a place or is a stage from which we are like analyzing user or tracking user. And so usually it's like the retention, or it's like attribution, or attributing like the first purchase to the channel. So I don't have much to say about like leads acquisition. I know that our clients are using like newsletters to get consent and also like to contact people. I have one insight that says that like Black Friday customers like are keen to sign up for a newsletter, and that was like a surprise for us, because we thought that they are like they have no interest in the brand, but it seems that they have.
So that admits something that Adrian says, that actually people don't mind if they actually expect, if they like the brand, right? They don't mind signing up. Of course, like we're talking about numbers that are okay in e-commerce. It's not like 100% will sign up, but this few percent that normally would sign up will still sign up. But maybe I drop something on top because like as Stripe, we deal with lead acquisition, specifically in e-commerce. In some projects, there are separate campaigns that are focused just on lead acquisition among non-customer bases. And in some businesses, these activities are actually very successful. I mean, they can't be obviously your only way to acquire customers, but especially for some brands where they are reaching a ceiling of acquisition, plugging in just strictly lead acquisition based campaigns, it's something that is working. Like we were testing ebooks, we were testing quizzes in some cases where people just opt in for something and then the purchase stage is like happening a bit later. We were doing some acquisitions before Black Friday. maybe in the mobile app business, it's a bit tricky because of the app installation, which practically is also a lead acquisition strategy, because installing an app is a way of acquiring a lead. Like that person hasn't really bought yet. They have to make some other steps to purchase. So this journey is a bit different. But in e-commerce, I would say pop-ups, ebooks, discounts, quizzes. If you understand your customer base and persona, like many different things can work. I would just say you should be collecting emails and you should be collecting phone numbers. You should be collecting installations of your app, even if some of these people don't purchase right away, because that way you are just expanding and creating another layer in your funnel, because awareness stage is very broad and it's people who are only seeing you, and then there is a purchase stage which is very narrow because they're like little people, but there's this entire middle of the funnel, and this is really the lead acquisition stage. And I would say it should still be important for businesses. But now going to the retention, like, do you guys have some particular techniques or strategies that you see working well? I know it's a big group of different tactics and strategies, but maybe from your experience, like some stuff that works for retaining customers in the businesses that you work with or the businesses that you work at. Martyna, like what works the best for retention in Żabka Już?
I would say maybe I will start with a challenge, because like the whole point of retention is to try to be in contact with your customer and try to still retain the interest in your product. So in e-grocery, it can be a little bit tricky because, our products are not so complicated as, for example, electronics. So preparing, for example, newsletters and so on about food and cosmetics can be not so interesting at some point for our customers at preparing newsletters about high tech. So this is a little
or
bit
health, for example. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is a challenge, and from my perspective, what's working is one more time personalization, because thanks to that you're able to prepare communication to different segments based on their needs. So for example, that those people are liking a promotion, so probably this will be like the trigger for them to come back. But those people don't care about promotion. They, for example, love new products. So the launch of new flavor or something like that will be the really something that will catch the eye. So I would say, starting from the challenge we have, the best way to maintain the retention and to fight the churn will be to prepare good marketing automation journeys with personalized and relevant communication to our different clusters of customers.
And Adrian,
Yeah.
how about yourself? And we're touching already the personalization part, so feel free to integrate it. I know it's one of the things you also love.
Yeah, I do love it. I love it because I think it's so important. I'm 100% with Martyna on that. I think that I don't think that there's any techniques that you can bring to the table that are new. I think they all work. I think pop-ups work. I think, text messaging works. I think emailer works. However, personalization is all about making sure you are hitting the customer at the right time with the right message. It's extraordinary to me that we'll come to work with a client who has been sending an email out on a Wednesday afternoon, only on a Wednesday afternoon, to the same audience, the same. It's a batch email that goes out and it's done once a week, and there's no segmentation in it. There's no personalization, and I think personalization is great. There's the technology to be able to do it. So you know what someone's interested in, and when they hit your website, you know what areas they might be more interested in than others. That's like having a personal assistant who, when you walk into a shop, says, "Oh, hello, Mr. Grindley. Oh, I've got some of your favorite trainers that you like in. Let me take you over to those." And you go, "That's great. I love that. That's really great." Spotify and Netflix and everything has proved that this is personalization is a great thing, that people love it and understand it. And I think that Martina is absolutely right. If you can personalize a customer's journey as much as you possibly can, that takes understanding of the different groups. But I think that would be my main takeaway, my main advice to anybody, really, which is have a look at how you can personalize the journey for different users.
And what would you personalize it based on? The choice of products, or the frequency of purchases, or all of it? Or like, do you see any patterns? Like, what's more important in terms of building the personalization journeys?
Yeah, I think you can start very simply. So if you know that if you segment your emails properly, and you know that these group of people, say, haven't purchased for a while, how could you offer them a discount different from everybody else to get them back onto your website to try and make a purchase? Going back to your mattress example, if it was, how can you get them to shout about your product to other people? How can you get them to leave you a review or something like that? But in terms of going back to that question of, you can segment it, that you're saying, I know you liked these jeans, but we know that people who bought these jeans now also bought these tops here. So we're going to send you segmentation in this way. And actually, when you've hit the website, we're going to show you different information. So we're going to show, so everybody gets slightly different homepage, for example. So we found that to be really, really, really great. And we use it a lot. We use convert.com, which does personalization. So you can set where whether the user's a new user, whether they're a returning user, whether they've purchased before, what area of the country they're in, what gender they are, all these sort of things you can set. And it's really interesting because you can basically make their journey slightly different to make sure that it's personal to them.
And Arek, because I know that we were supposed to have Maciej here, who has a very different perspective on segmentation. So maybe you're gonna be a little bit of represent him. So Maciej was supposed to say that segmentation is all bullshit and it doesn't work, because they did a lot of tests and they spent a lot of money and time and it didn't work. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Arek.
Yeah, he said, like, before this panel, he said that the only thing that he has to say is that he has been doing this for, I think, 5 years at least. So he said that they didn't see any like incremental value from segmentation, and that's for sure is like in contrary from what we have seen with Yorkaya. So, but they're like selling like dog food, and they like have discounts all the time. So probably like maybe this is a specific segment, or that is like price sensitive.
I tell you one thing, when I started my journey with marketing, it was in this company, Mindvalley, that was always quite advanced when it comes to digital marketing. We were selling, tons of different courses online across the whole world. And I had a very similar perspective on segmentation for many years, even though when I was leaving the company, and like, I don't know, 2014 or something like that, there was an email database of over 1 million leads. So it's like a huge database. So we would say, if you have such a huge database, you should segment it. But my experiences were like, the bigger list I blast, the more money I make. I was like, That was my experience, you know.
Yeah, if there is like no
The more
penalty or
people
cost,
receive my email with and the pressure was on a very good email content, the better the email, the bigger the batch, the more money. So I was always like, yes, let's segment, but maybe when I'm doing my campaign, I will not, because you know I still want to maximize the results. But like later I left the company, I was over my journey with different businesses, and I think it depends, you know, because if you're strong on promo, you know, promo is something that works for everyone, for some people more, for some people less, yeah. But if you really want to focus on a value, and you want to focus on a brand, then segmentation is the only way. But if you're strong on promo, going into being less on promo and more into value, it's a process that you can't really do within 1 week or even 2 months, because your database got used to something. So I would say to Maciej, like, don't give up, just maybe start sending discounts to smaller batches, see how it works, start segmenting maybe in a way that in the end of the process, at least you're saving some money on the discounts, because maybe you don't have to incentivize the whole database the same way, and that's already your win from the whole process.
I think like their business is kind of and the marketing that they are running is kind of a specific one, because you cannot, like right now, you cannot buy product from them without a discount. It's like automatically added to your basket. So it's a little bit different world. But from what I've seen with our customers, or sometimes we do like a custom analysis for our customers. So from what I've seen, like the price is like number one always. So the price has to be right, because that's a thing that is crucial. But it really, like the analysis that they want really depends on the kind of business that they run or the product that they sell. So for example, we have a client from the United States that sells soups, like ready meal soups, like that you can like put in the microwave oven, you can like heat it, and then like in 90 seconds you can like eat the soup. And they're quite successful. And they're like, for example, they are like, in terms of retention, they're like concerned about like soups that people are ordering, because you can like you cannot like eat the same soup every day. You cannot like send the customers like coupons for the same soup that he bought like 1 week ago, because it's like it doesn't taste the same. So they were like really concerned about the let's say eating pattern of the client, so the frequency, what they are ordering. They were trying to prepare some kind of packs of soups with different flavors. Test if the pack with different flavors at the beginning is a right choice for the retention to go up, and stuff like that. They have also like oatmeals, so they are like also like they were experimenting like with adding like oatmeals to the product. So a lot of things that we did for them was with the product that they are offering and the sets that they are selling, and that was their recipe for increasing customer lifetime value and retention. So that's they did that. But with Yorkaya, we are doing like segmentation, and they think that the segmentation is going to get them an uplift if retention and the preliminary test shows that that's a good approach for them.
Yeah, and that segmentation on Yorkaya, that I don't know if you guys were watching the previous session. It's primarily based on how long people are staying and purchasing, and they're just receiving different messages. I think we're doing something very similar on MatchFeed as well, which is pretty standard, right? Like it's probably one of the most standard segmentations you can do. It's based on like how often people are buying, and it's like this idea, and maybe you guys have some. You can give me your perspective on this question, because I think it's very common. Should you react before someone churns, or should you react after?
And I think this is really, really a question that's, from my perspective, showing that segments are crucial. Because if you have, for example, someone who is from VIP segments, and you know that he or she is buying very often, and for what the process is stopped. So you can imagine that probably he or she will leave you. You should immediately try to stop that person, because it's really lucrative leads for you. And if he or she is stopping buying, something is wrong. So this is the moment you should react and try to understand what's going on. But for example, if you have someone who is a new customer, you don't know anything about it, about him or she, it will be really exhausting to try to catch all of those person and try to retain them before they leave, because you don't even know if they are leaving or if their shopper pattern is to buy once a week. So this is why I say segments really are crucial to help you, for example, prioritize different actions for different segments. And for one segment, we will try to catch them before they churn. And for other, we don't even know what the churn is for them, because maybe they will buy once a month, and that's okay. And then should we contact them three times a week? Maybe no, because the pattern is that they are buying only once a month. So why to bother and creating content for them? So I think this is really
yeah, I think it's philosophical, a bit like prevention or prevention, or sometimes in life we behave as well different. Are you trying not to happen? It's also about marketing, being persuasive or being a bit more supportive, because I'm from the school of more aggressive marketing. So I was always, you should not let them decide. I want to have an impact before they even make a decision. So I want to form the habit the way I want the business to be. But maybe the business is changing now. And as you said, Martina, we should let them be natural and then react, right? Prevent or react, two sides of behavior.
I think also we need to test, because this is the base for everything. Because like you said, you can have different assumption, and reality check is something really important to conduct for example, A/B testing, and check if you push people with more messages, if they are going to come back or if they are going to opt out, and this is the end of your journey with them, because you don't have any possibility to contact them from now. So testing for me is also something really, really important.
Well, with IB testing, there is one big issue. It's the sample size, and if you want to have the A/B testing significantly valid, or the significance valid, not that's really hard to achieve. You have a really big business, but for most of the customers, it's something that they have to sometimes work with the hunch, because even if they run a test,
obviously this is our area of expertise. Obviously, you're absolutely spot on. You need to have the large traffic. However, if you can make sure that you know your customers and you're asking questions, you'll get to know whether or not they're not happy, so you can dive into that, actually trying to ask them questions. So customer satisfaction surveys and things like that. I think it was interesting what you guys were saying before about the personalization stuff, because we do a thing called the red route, which is this is where they've started and this is where they finish, and what's interrupting them on that red route. And sometimes you can say, well, they'll get past this, it's okay, it's a little irritation, but does it affect their Does it affect the sale? No, they're going to go through anyway. We're going to send out a batch email to everybody. It's kind of all right. We're going to get some sales. But in reality, it's like someone tapping, it's like a grate. It's like it doesn't do your brand any good, because actually treating people with a bit of personalization and not trying to just go after that sale all the time, but actually looking at like treating them like you are going to send them different information based on what you think they like, it strengthens your brand, I feel. So
yeah, I think that's a good insight. I even had this insight right now in my head, that me being this marketer coming from the direct sales in digital many years back, and working with different businesses, I see that this direction is more towards implementing brand into the digital marketing, and brand being stronger, and your brand will be stronger if you're gonna treat your customers in a more personalized way. That's yeah, I mean, I know it sounds like obvious, but for me, it's kind of eye-opening.
It's hard to measure. It's hard to measure because they get to the same place. The data will say, well, it's because, okay, we've got the sales up from sending out the batches. So I think personalization can get confusing, because in a way it's much harder to work out. If we've done personalization for the last 3 months, did it have a huge effect? Well, it's much, much harder to measure. You can measure A/B tests, easy. This group of people like this group of people like that. Personalization is very different because it's personalized. So it's very...
And it's a transformation, right? Like you're prioritizing the brand, you're prioritizing the needs of your clients. Obviously, this will not pay back immediately. It will give you ROI in the 3 more months time, or if you run the test, probably the personalization might actually show worse results than if you send the email with discount to everyone, as I was doing, being this fresh, aggressive marketer who just wanted to make a lot of money from my activities. So that's a lot about thinking long term as well about the business. Okay, and now the last question, as always, is about the trends. So what do you guys see? Like, what's coming? Like, where these retention strategies connected to lead acquisition and nurturing will go? Like what the future holds? Like if you were to put your wizard hat for a moment and share, like what's gonna happen? Like what's the future? Maybe Adrian, you first this time.
It's a good question. I think it's only
AI.
Well, yeah, absolutely. AI. I mean, it's been on the tip of my tongue all the way through. I think the future is, for me, is staying as relevant as you can be with the technology that's out there that you can use. And that's a bit that's not a clear-cut answer, but so there's no real technique in that. Chatbots, how are they going to affect your sales? How does AI affect your sales? How does how does AI affect your automations? I think that there is so many tools in the last 12 months. I think ChatGPT arrived December last year, November, end of November, and it's revolutionized most of the things that we do in terms of being able to analyze data much faster, etc., etc. So I think the most important thing is to make sure that you're staying on top of that technology, that you know exactly what's there, what's out there and what's available to you. But I do think that the future's got to be like thinking about humans are buying from your site. Humans are the people who are making the purchase. Humans are the people that you want to retain. So treating them like they're human beings is what people want. There's a bank advert that's running at the moment, and it's talking about yeah, and it's David Tennant, you know, the Doctor Who, who's Doctor Who, and he says yes. They say, what about the live chat? Is it a robot or is it a human? And he says, don't worry, it's a proper human. And it's kind of like, I just feel that the future is making sure that people feel like they're being treated like humans.
Cool. And
More
Martina?
philosophical, I think.
Yeah.
I really like this answer. I totally on board. I think partially because now we are living in such world where there are so many information, like this is very cluttered. Also for me as a marketer, but also for me as a human to, you know, like just to try to grab the information that will be really relevant for me. So going forward, I think the only option will be to prepare like the communication, the content, and the place where you put this communication in very specific and very proper way to catch the attention of your future customers. So and this will be possible only with very good martech, and we already see that AI is helping. Like in the really little project, like, I don't know, you have like huge video, and thanks to, I don't know, some software in Google, you can cut it in different shapes and different length. So this, to put it in different places. So to, you know, like overcome the clutter of information and try to really hit the spot where your customer are right now. So I think this will be even much more important in the future. So probably my answer is not very fresh, but I think all of us are thinking right now about AI and the possibility it's preparing for all of us.
And Arek?
So I have no idea, because it's
Thank
really
you.
hard.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I have no idea, but I like the RFM segmentation that we're like talking today. It's like something that was invented in 1995.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I'm really excited about AI and stuff like that, and we are trying to be up to date, and it will definitely then is like changing the analytics landscape and the cost of analytics, stuff like that. There are some like jobs being created right now, but like the adoption it's like the weakest point in the technology adoption is human. And like as I said, like I know customers that are like not measuring like customer lifetime value,
No.
and that's a big like game changer for them, at least from my perspective, or at least from my experience. So I think like the future will be like very, very interesting. The adoption will be like, as always, like slower, so slow, but we shouldn't like miss it, because it will give us the advantage. But I think like when at least in my business, because we are also like thinking a lot about how the future will what the future will look like. It's like concentrating on the understanding, like who is your customer, as Adrian said, and what is the value that you are like giving, because only then you can like choose the right tools and concentrate on or defend things that are really important from the point of view of your business, and not like on some old outdated like technology stack, for example, that's not like bringing any like additional value to what you're selling. So
Thank you. And let me just do a quick summary, because it was a really interesting talk for myself too. We started with asking you guys about the importance of retention in different businesses that you are in contact with, and we all said that it's important, and more businesses are seeing it as important. I think it's actually missing out if you're not taking it seriously, because it's creating a fundament for the business. It's creating like more stability. It's interesting for VCs, but it's also interesting for founders, because you're literally making more money from the customers who actually stay with you. Then we talk about different strategies for both acquisition and nurturing of leads. And I think my takeaway that I'm taking with today is really around the different techniques and about the personalization. But personalization understood as all the efforts concentrated on the actual customer, what they're doing, when they're buying, what they're buying, how often they want to buy. If they actually want to buy from me like every week, maybe they don't. And this big question that I think brands should ask themselves, like, is it the long-term game they're playing and they want to prioritize the brand that they're building and they want to stay for long? If yes, probably they have to pay more attention to the strategies and tactics that prioritize the human within the customer. And if so, prioritize the personalization need. But maybe sometimes these experiments and tests, they will not bring the immediate ROI. And we spoke about it. Like some of the companies like tested and they don't see the results. So they say like, oh, fuck it, I'm not doing segmentation anymore. I'm just blasting the whole list because it makes more money. Or the other organizations that are experimenting. And these experiments are difficult because, as we said, they don't make money right away. They are just a long game. They are about understanding the customer, giving different customers different content, sometimes different discounts. And this, in the end, requires the teams that work with both technology and also different ideas and data. And this data has to come from the shopping platforms, and these shopping platforms have to play nicely with the marketing automation platforms. If they don't match, then you're losing the data. So actually you will not be able to cater to the needs of your customers. And if you don't, you're weakening the brand. If you're weakening the brand, you're not playing the long game, because in the end, only the strong brands will win, because the world is like massively flooded with everything. So, in the end of the day, it's gonna be about the connection, and this connection will be between the brands that we build or help to build and the human beings that are buying. And obviously we're all excited about AI, and hopefully it's gonna help us to make the work better, or at least cheaper and more effective for everyone. So I think that's my summary. I hope I grasped the main points. I will try to summarize it on LinkedIn as well. It was eye-opening for me that, marketing has changed. Like, I've been in this world for 15 years and it's changing, and it's actually changing for better. Like, the older I'm getting, the less fan of more aggressive techniques I am. So I'm happy it's changing that direction. So thank you so much, my guests. I hope it was also good for you, that you have learned something, or maybe you got some ideas, like Martina, maybe the SMSs, something small that we can implement on Light. Maybe for Adrian, you also had some good talk, or at least some good food for thought. And Adrian, obviously, thank you. Like this was evened by Tribe 47 and Sublime. And we had some amazing guests today from different companies, from Health Labs, from Yorkaya, from Job Kayush, from Pop Creative. And we're going to let you know about the next event that we will organize live or online. Adrian, I don't know. What's your take? We'll see.
Sounds great. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
I posted like a link with the form for the survey form in the comment section. So if you guys can like fill it in, that would fill it out. That would be like that would really help us to prepare like next meetings. So
yeah, that would be great to understand if you guys like this session, everyone who was watching, if you got something out of it. And we're going to be sharing the recording probably once we edit it a little. Take out all the controversial stuff. We didn't have anything like that. Hopefully we don't have to. Okay, so thank you, guys.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.